Alright, so zombies fucking tier list. Alright. You know, I've been waiting to do this shit for so long because I feel like so many tier lists are wrong. But this is just my opinion. My opinion. Which just so happens to be the right one. Anyway, Teir and Toad. Alright. You know, as everyone always says, it's the map that started everything. So I'm not gonna judge it too hard, but it's very bare bones, which, you know, lots of zombies YouTubers have said that before. And then they also count in the nostalgia factor, which I'm not going to count in. I'm going to be judging this off of enjoyability and replayability, all right? And a little bit of difficulty as well, because that factors into the enjoyability. I think Noct is honestly, it's a very difficult map, and it's also really slow to start off. It was my first map that I ever played, but I think it's really boring. It's honestly really boring, I think. I'm not, honestly, Teir and Toad D tier map, don't give a damn. But you know, it's not bad. It gives you enough room to do things, but then it doesn't have anything to bring whatsoever besides the mystery box. But then every map has the mystery box, and of course the ray gun, but then every map has the ray gun as well. So I don't think that should factor in too much. Okay. Shangri-La, all right? Okay. Shangri-La is a very difficult map. Me personally, I do like the baby gun, but I don't think it's that great of a wonder weapon. But it's not bad. I just don't think it lives up to as much as people treat it as. It is really good though. I'll give it that. It's not bad. But the map itself, the Easter egg is way too fucking difficult. If you really want to play a normal match of zombies, you're gonna have to either play it 2-player or solo if you want to just be casual, because you know the pack-a-punch system is really annoying, and then you can't play it in open lobbies, so it's not very new to the community friendly. You have to already know people in order to get the full enjoyment out of the map, which I don't think is something that is very enjoyable, because you have to have been there at that point in time to get the full enjoyment out of the map that people have now. So I am gonna put this map at C tier. It's an enjoyable map, but then just mixed in with the difficulty and the fact that it forces you to play with other people, and then also forces you to make connections, which I know sounds kind of bad that I'm not agreeing with that, and that's something I don't like. But lots of people don't enjoy playing with others or having to search for others just to play a map. So as a solo player, but also someone who loves to play with other people, I think that Shangri-La deserves C purely because of that fact. Verrückt, honestly, I enjoyed my time on Verrückt. It's like the right amount of difficulty, I think. It's pretty simple, but then it's also got the perks on there. So it's not completely bare bones, which is great. Then also came up with a new aspect for the game where you spawn in at different locations for the characters. I think that could be kind of fun. It was definitely interesting to find that out for the first time. It's just, you can keep getting better at that map. I love using the Wonder Waff. I'm not going to count nostalgia factor for that, but I did enjoy it when I first started playing zombies, and I still enjoy it because it shoots electricity. That in itself is already making it a good weapon. But the map is very slim. There's like no training area whatsoever, so I believe it's not very multiplayer friendly, and for solo, it's a pretty good solo map. But then the lack of training spots, you really got to learn the map. You really got to get in tune with how the map is supposed to be played in order to get the better gameplay value out of it. So I think that Verrucht may be. I'm gonna put that one also in the C tier. Yeah, I think that's a good spot. Shinonuma. Okay, hear me out. Dogs, all right? Dogs. It brought dogs. If I'm not mistaken, it is the first map with dogs. Then it also was the first map to introduce the flinger, which is, I think that's a good, it introduced some stuff. But the perk system, how it makes it random for which perks you get, I don't like that. It is very multiplayer friendly and very solo player friendly. So honestly, I think it's a pretty good map. I think it's better than Shangri-La and Verrucht. Everybody's got their own space. I mean, besides the water, you have like a lot of movement potential in there. And then it's also a very easy high rounds map, which obviously by the world records that have been hit, it's a very easy map to play on. So honestly, oh, and the Wonder Waff. So honestly, I think I will put Shinonuma at as an A tier map. It's pretty good. I can barely see any flaws with it besides the lack of the Easter egg, but I don't think that the Easter eggs weigh it that heavily. So Shinonuma as an enjoyable map, I give it an A. It doesn't piss me off or anything. Yeah, Doris. Oh, Doris. I'm not a fan of Doris. I'm really not that big of a fan of Doris. Okay. Linking with 3 teleporters, you know, very interesting. First idea for how to open up Pack-a-Punch, and then, you know, it carries on for the rest of the game and the rest of the series. But honestly, Doris is not my favorite. I mean, I like the Pack-a-Punch. I like that it came up with the idea for Pack-a-Punch, but other than that, what does it really offer? You've got like the catwalk and you've got nostalgia. That's like the main thing that I think people give Doris, which I don't find value in that, because like later on when you go back to keep playing it, at least for me, I don't find myself being like, oh, I love playing Doris. I think of it as, oh, I used to play this with some friends back when I didn't have like higher expectations for zombies. But I guess it is kind of bad to have high expectations for some of the old maps because they can't be remade, but then they are what they are, you know? But Doris, C tier map. Kino no Toten, S tier. No, I'm kidding. It's not that good. It's good, but it's not that good. Obviously you got the teleporter, which is really cool. I mean, you have nostalgia for it, but then honestly, it wasn't super great. You've obviously got the perks, but the perks could have been a little better. It's a relatively easy map to play, and I think with that fact, music Easter egg was nice. I did enjoy that. But I think with just that fact that it's a relatively easy map to play, introduced crawlers, not that bad. So honestly, I'll give Kino. I think I'm gonna give Kino another B tier. Let me C tier. 5. I've recently been getting into more 5. 5 is definitely one of those maps where you really got to get into it to understand exactly how to like play it properly. When I first started, I thought that the Pentagon Thief was like the most annoying motherfucker on the planet. But then really, you just gotta go in, find like, you could camp in the elevator for a second when the round starts, and then shoot his head. That's all you gotta do. And honestly, it's not that difficult for him. Once you get weapons that you enjoy using, you kind of just chill out in the map. You can chill out in the that one fucking room I can't remember the name of, but you pull the levers and stuff to change lockdown sequence or something. So 5, honestly, I enjoy the Winter's Owl, which I know it sucks, but I think Ice is pretty cool. It's enjoyable. I'm able to play it and be like, this is a cool looking weapon. It does a cool effect on the zombies. So I'll give 5. Honestly, 5 is a B tier map. Ascension, I didn't play much of Ascension. I wasn't that. But I do think it was an enjoyable map for what I did, except for the fact that it had the monkeys. And I think the monkeys really took away from my enjoyment, because I loved using perks, and then having to constantly monitor my perks, making sure I don't lose my shit that I spent time trying to get. I think that really, my replay value drops down a lot there. And the map itself is pretty fun. The Kotrishka dolls, I love those. That was interesting to put into a map. Gersh device, it was really fun to use, but then I don't know. I feel like I would have to play that map without perks in order to get the full, like, to get enjoyment out of it. But Ascension, I've never done the Easter egg, but I hear it's pretty easy. But Ascension, I give Ascension, no, let's make that another C tier map. Call of the Dead, I've never played the map besides on the mobile, which doesn't really count. I've heard the wonder weapons suck on that map. But it is a really cool looking map, I give it that. It has definitely his character that some other maps don't have. Call of the Dead. From what I've played, I haven't played much of it, but then I did play Togdertoten, which doesn't correlate to the same thing, but I think it's a decent map. I don't think it's one of the greats, but it's definitely up there. At the Call of the Dead, I'll give that B tier. Because despite having kind of crappy wonder weapons, having George Romero there, it's like, for me, I like the thought of like, how long is it going to take me to take him out? You know, like that constant thought of, I need weapons to be able to kill George, because I know he has a shit ton of health, and then he always keeps coming back. So I think the idea of having to constantly figure out what's best to take him out, like constantly having to rethink that, I find that really fun. Moon, honestly, I never did the Easter egg on Moon, but then it's like I've tried. It's just really RNG based. It's like just super lucky. You gotta be super lucky to get it. Moon as a map as a whole, I think it is replayable. I'll give it that. The frickin' that zombie astronaut, I actually don't find him very annoying. And I typically don't care about the dig sites and stuff, like losing oxygen. I'll just camp out in the that one area right outside, like right next to the biodome, I believe. And I'll just have my suit on. I can just train there. I think that's pretty fun. So I'll give Moon B tier. Fucking Transit, Jesus. Transit. Honestly, I keep coming back to it, but then it has like the worst wonder weapon that I could possibly think of. So, it makes you not even want to get it ever. Overall, yeah, it's a huge map, and then constantly having to wait for the bus, it's very annoying. But it's not bad. it has its own personality to it. It's like, it feels like a very free for all kind of map. You just do whatever the hell you want to in that map. Because there's no main objective that you could casually go to, but then you can't do anything on it if you don't do the main objective. So I think I'll give Transit a D tier because it's enjoyable, but then like you can't do much on it without feeling like shit. Nuketown, Die Rise, honestly, the Liquefier is pretty fun. Die Rise is somewhat enjoyable map actually. I mean the falling and stuff, I don't struggle with that very much because I don't jump around too much. If you don't aim to jump around too much, you actually can enjoy it. Liquefier is fun to look around and build. Though your start can be pretty fast if you know what you're doing. Honestly, I'll give this a C tier. Mob of the Dead. This is the last one I'm going to do before I cut it off for a second and then get to a second part of it real quick. Mob of the Dead. It is a very interesting map. I love the aesthetic of the map and I love the characters in the map, but my main problem with it is even in solo you get 3 afterlives. It just feels so difficult to stay alive, like much more difficult than all the other maps. It's like it's fun to play because you always know what you're aiming for and then you know where everything is and trying to figure out the best way to accomplish your goal, which I feel we need more of in zombies. The progression in it is pretty good. So Mob of the Dead, it's very difficult I think, but it is still a good map. So, but then there's a lack of training areas, I think. No, that's a lie. We got the cafeteria. I think Mob of the Dead is pretty good. I'll definitely put it up here as a B tier map. All right, sing clap. All right, next map. Totally didn't get my recordings and shit mixed up or anything. Blood of the Dead. All right, the most controversial map, I believe, in like every single Treyarch Zombies game. All right, Blood of the Dead was an idea to come back after Mob of the Dead and try to remake it and maybe, I think in their eyes, make it better. But I think it failed, like miserably. The Magma Gat was fun. I did enjoy using that and I did enjoy getting it because it's not super hard to get. Just like the Acid Gat, it wasn't very difficult to get whatsoever. It's like the game, playing it casually, I feel is relatively simple. There isn't much to do. And there's no point of getting like the Hell's Retriever. That thing it sucks ass. And getting it, even upgrading it to the Hell's Redeemer pretty much sucks. With the specialists and stuff, I think it does bring it up a little bit because the specialists are really fun to use, especially Takeo's katana. I think those are great. Overall, though, I think the map was kind of really lacking on a lot of different aspects. So, Blood of the Dead, I think I'm going to give it a D tier. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great either. So, didn't have many loving aspects to it. Black Ops 4 was more about the story than it was about anything else. Alright, Origins. Origins, it was a good map. It's very challenging, I believe. It wasn't terribly challenging though, which I think is great. Being able to choose every single game where you want to go and how you want to play the map, I think is a great like experience. And then with multiple people, it's like it's like you're playing more than one map while also still playing the same map, because you can do a lot of different things in that map, I believe. So, Origins, multiple ways to play the map, relatively difficult. I'm gonna give Origins probably B tier. Classified. Fucking hell, this map was not that great. I don't know what else to tell you. It could have been better. I do like that it widened the map from 5, especially when you're in the war room. But other than that, it didn't really bring much else to the table. I mean, there's a new pack-a-punch system, which I think was interesting. Very surprising to see that when I first came in there. It wasn't bad, but then it wasn't very fun at the same time. I think the classifieds are gonna have to go at a D tier, especially because of the Easter egg. Same thing with Blood of the Dead. Blood of the Dead's Easter egg was very, very difficult. I still have yet to finish it. I don't think I ever will. Voyage of Despair. The map is, for me, when I first started playing it, and still sometimes now, it's very hard to navigate. It's a very complex map, especially since I've never like seen the inside of that Titanic, so I can't tell you like from previous memory of where anything is. So I've never seen that movie either. But Voyage has a somewhat okay wonder weapon. It's more like just another gun. The upgrades are somewhat cool. I think it's too difficult of a map sometimes though. It can be really easy. It has 2 good training spots, I think. But other than that, could be better. The Easter egg, I never tried it. Well, that's a lie. I have tried the Easter egg, but I couldn't get through it because it was too fucking complicated. It was just random shit thrown together. So for Voyage, honestly, I think it's higher than Classified. Because you have the wonder weapons, and I think that's the only thing that really brings it above Classified, but not by much. Okay, 9. I see. This is where I'm conflicted. A lot of people love 9. It was a good map, all right. I'll give it that. But it feels repetitive. I don't think the wonder weapon's that great. It was fun to use, and I liked it before, but then more that I play it, it's like, what is it for? It's kind of fun to use, like, and all that, but like, just not really my thing. Easter egg, I went for it. I didn't successfully do it, so I guess I don't have that aspect to look at it either. But I tried. It's the best you can do. It was fun to get to there though. It's a decent training map as well, but I think the weapons in general in Black Ops 4 could have been better. But overall, I think the map is probably a B tier map. Dead of the Night. Okay. A lot of people don't like this map. I tend to think that it's actually my favorite map of Black Ops 4. Alistair's Folly is an interesting wonder weapon to get. I like in zombies maps where you just have to know where stuff is in order to get all that you want in the map. You don't have to go through these ridiculously difficult challenges just to get whatever weapon you want. I don't think that the challenges on Dead of the Night are that difficult, but I think it is hard to remember all of them at once. I did beat the Easter egg, first try actually. It was very fun to get through all that actually. I think the boss fight was fun. I did have to pause and, Mr. Waffle Waffles to help me out with exactly what the boss was doing. But then in the end, I think it was a relatively good boss fight. I think the map is well balanced. I think the wonder weapon really does bring an entirely new atmosphere to how the map is played. But I think the only thing I would change with that map is probably the training areas. I can't find a good place to train on that map. So with that being said, I think the Easter egg was good. I think the gameplay is decent. It's not too difficult. I think I'm gonna give it an A tier. All right, so D. DE I feel is getting really repetitive. I've played that map quite a bit. Like that's the most played zombies map I've ever had, ever. So for DE, the Easter egg is very straightforward. You kind of just do the same couple of steps and then you go into the boss fight, and the boss fight's not that difficult either. I've beat it several times in solo. I've beat it a few times in co-op. But I think it's just really repetitive, and then it also makes it so like you're relying on the bows all the time. You can't even use your regular weapons. So I think over time it just kind of wears it out. It's a good map for sure. Love you can get a small history on each of the bows when you use them. I think I'm gonna be putting DE as an A tier map. It's pretty damn good, but it has a little repetitive, like it gets really repetitive, which I think is the problem. Zetsubo, I think is a very underrated map. It's like, I feel like it's really overlooked. When it released, there was a lot of bugs with it, but they fixed pretty much everything, I believe. I've gone back to it recently and I haven't found any bugs whatsoever. The only problem I have with Zetsubo is probably the Thrasher, and maybe the KT4 takes a little long to get, but not too bad. The Easter egg is really fun to do. The Easter egg is mostly getting the KT4, which makes it feel a little bit more rewarding, because with the KT4 you get to open up new stuff. Like you get to experience the spider boss, which I think is the first time we've had like a boss fight before an actual boss fight in the game. And the boss fights weren't that difficult either, but they were fun to do. I think it's a very fun speedrun map. And I think for that, I'm gonna put it in A tier. Ancient Evil. Now, this is a map that I think might have been one of my favorites as well. Ancient Evil was pretty damn good. The gauntlets, I think the only issue I had was the lack of ammo in the gauntlets, which I feel is a problem that a lot of people have with the map. Easter egg. Damn, I can't remember if I tried doing it. I did. I got to the last step where you're fighting like Pegasus and all that. It's a fun Easter egg to do. I think the map as a whole is pretty fun to play. You have a good amount of space. It's fun doing the challenges, getting the gauntlets and all that. There's a lot to learn in the map. So I think Ancient Evil is another one of those maps I'm going to put in A tier. Alpha Omega. I want to start off by saying, fuck super sprinters. That in itself is really fucking annoying. I already know I'm putting this, it's D tier, but I think it's D tier because of that main issue. The map layout it's okay. It has a little bit of character to itself, but I don't think that it's very fun to have that map be remade so many times, and then you come back and do it and it feels like you can't play the map. The ray guns are pretty fun. Sometimes. No, that's a lie. I lied. The ray gun Mark Y is the only one I enjoy using. The Easter egg was decent. It was alright. It was a little difficult, I think, from what I remember, but overall it wasn't too hard. But you know, overall quality of the map, I didn't enjoy it very much, so D tier. Toten. This was honestly a pretty damn good map. I did enjoy figuring out all the shit that you have to do in there. The challenges and things were really fun to play with. That was one of the best endings to the zombie story that I think I've seen. Yeah, I mean the story, I get you feel it when you play the map, which I feel is really good for Black Ops 4, because you can't really focus on the gameplay aspect too much because the guns sucked ass and a few other things were wrong with the game as a whole, but everybody preaches that all the time. So Target Toten, I'm gonna put Tog at probably C tier map. It wasn't the wonder weapons also. That's where I was very disappointed with. That's the only reason why it's not in B tier. The wonder weapons were very lacking. Die Machine. No, actually, let's go to the Black Ops 3 ones that I skipped over. Shadows of Evil, I think, is a pretty much flawless map. I don't have any issues with Shadows of Evil in particular, besides the fact that I believe the one step for the Easter egg, with the flag step for the Easter egg, I think that's the only problem that I have with it. But then you don't have to do the Easter egg, and then you also have the problem with the fact you can't complete the Easter egg solo. That part gets me. But other than that, I honestly think it's a pretty flawless map. Love the aesthetic of the map. So I think I'm actually gonna go with Shadows of Evil S tier. Hello? Yep, there it is. Revelations is not gonna stay down there. Sync. Alright, so a little bit of a bug there. Apparently the fucking site wasn't working very well. Apparently I skipped over Buried as well. And Town, and Bus Depot, and Farm. Okay. Buried. Buried was honestly a decent map, I think. It's very fun to learn all the free shit you can do in the map. I believe the Easter eggs are a bit difficult though. Overall, I have not much to say about the map. I'd say it's a B tier map. No, I think Buried is a C tier map. It's a little too easy, but then the Easter egg is a little too difficult. Like, I don't feel like I find myself in a comfortable place. The map. Town. Town has perks. Town has Pack-a-Punch. Town is small. Town is simple. But it also has fire. I think that Town is honestly a really decent map. I think it holds together well for what it is. It is a little bit bare bones, of course, but then you have Pack-a-Punch and perks, so it adds a little spice to it. It has no much depth besides that, though. It's very chill zombies map. So I think for all that, I will probably put it in a B tier map. Farm is very bare bones. I find it very annoying to play. It's either D or F tier for me. Farm is so empty. I don't find myself like doing much on there at all. There's no reason to go back besides, can I survive with just regular weapons? So I think Farm will probably be D tier as well. Bus Depot. It has the mystery box, so that adds a little bit of something to it, but then it feels really empty. But I do think it is a decent map to like just chill out on, just like Farm sometimes. But I think it's another D tier. Forsaken. No, wait. Let's go back a little bit. Gorod Krovi. Very difficult Easter egg, I feel. I think it's just the one thing it's lacking is that it's not noob friendly. It's not very casual friendly. You have to know what you're doing in the map. You have to know like the mechanics of the map in order to fully get the experience out of it. So I think that subtracts a little bit from the quality of the map. So I think the Gorod Krovi will be a B tier map. Die Machine, honestly, after the upgrades with Die Machine, it is a remake, kind of, or it's more of an addition, which it doesn't feel like a remake as much. because yeah, you have aspects of knocked, but then it's like it's not a complete re like just redo of it, because it's not just knocked anymore. It's a lot more to it. Um, so Die Machine, I think it's a relatively solid map. The Easter egg is pretty fun to do. Um, it's definitely up there for one of my better maps. It's also not super difficult either. I think I'm gonna find myself putting Die Machine at B tier. I don't find it really replayable, but it is pretty good. Firebase Z. I think the Easter egg for Firebase Z is relatively simple. It can be stressful when you get to the mimic step, which is really fucking annoying. But overall, it's a kind of easy map to go play. The Red K is a decent weapon. Over time, though, it kind of gets boring to use, I guess. Sadly, the ray gun isn't in the map, which I feel would have added a lot to the map. I feel like the map would be way better if it had the ray gun in there. Overall, I think that Firebase Z is a B tier map as well. Mauder Toten, it's a difficult map, I'll give it that, but it has rewarding aspects to the difficulty. I think that having all those boss zombies in there it's kind of cloudy, I guess is the word to use for that. It is fun to have a for the Panzer to come back. What are they called? The Disciples. They're fun to fight against sometimes, but they can get really annoying when they boost the zombies. The Wonder Weapon in the map, though, is pretty fun to use, and you can get a free one, or you can do it by the challenges. Easter egg was also fun to do. It was a little challenging, but not too hard, until you get to the boss fight, which was very difficult. I think Mauder Toten probably up there with B tier. Outbreak. Surprising to see Outbreak on here. I think Outbreak has too much space, and it takes too much time. I find it is fun. Outbreak is fun. It's fun to do with multiple people as long as you know the people that you're playing with, because if you don't, then you'll have a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing, and they'll go do like the different challenges and stuff around the map by themselves, so you don't get the points from it. They'll advance too far, or they stray off way too much trying to fight random zombies, because it's the zombies' points are not rewarding whatsoever. It's very buggy as well, playing Outbreak. But Outbreak's Easter egg is difficult for those who don't know how to do it. There are limitations, which I find very annoying. You can't use like whatever weapon you want in that boss fight, which I feel kind of gets rid of the creativity. For that, the Easter egg, and then just the overall like time-consuming gameplay, I think Outbreak is decent and somewhat replayable, but the maps I feel are too large, and I think we might need more maps. I think that's what the issue is. The maps are too large, so it takes forever getting through the maps, and then we need more maps just for creativity. So I think that puts Outbreak at B tier as well. And for the final map, you have Forsaken. The Crystal Axe is a great wonder weapon for starters. I absolutely adore that wonder weapon because it combined with your health regeneration per melee hit, you can survive in a corner sitting there unless you're getting hit by a disciple. Other than that, though, you can camp with a melee weapon, which I find really fun and unique for a zombies game. and then it doesn't limit to how much ammo you have for meleeing, and then you can pack a punch it as well. I believe it one hits almost forever. The Easter egg is really simple, but then it's interesting to watch. It's interesting to play through. I think Forsaken is definitely one of the better maps, but what do I feel it's lacking? Travel. I don't feel like the traveling through the map is as easy as it could be. Like, there's portals, but then it takes long to get to the portals, and then also the zip lines are at specific locations, and I feel you do a lot more running on the map than you do actual like gameplay. But Forsaken is overall a really good map. A tier. I'm not doing Forsaken again. So that's my Zombies tier list. Nuketown Revelations. Why is Revelations down there? Revelations is not supposed to be down there. Hold on. Revelations. Revelations is reused. It's very ununique, but it's very free. You can do a lot of shit in that map. Just a lot of random free-for-all type stuff. And the Easter egg is relatively difficult, I think. It doesn't feel replayable very much. I'm gonna give it a C. So, there is my Zombies tier list. So, share or whatever. Comment for sure. I want to see how everyone thinks of how I rated them. Lex, bro, I hope that man sees this shit. It's gonna be fun. I want to see if I want to see what his thoughts are on my ranking system. Fucking Blood of the Dead, Nuketown at the bottom. There you go. All right.